Let's be honest. You know they're bad for you. You probably have a list, a mental one, or maybe you even written stuff down of all the reasons this person is a destructive force in your life. You've probably left them more than once. You've said this is the final goodbye. You blocked their number. You swore to your friends and to your family, this is the last time. But then a few days, or weeks, or maybe even months later, the phone rings, a text pops up, and that familiar loneliness may creep in, and somehow you're right back where you started, trapped in the same exhaustive loop. And you can't figure out why. You feel weak, you feel ashamed, and you just feel completely exhausted. And if this sounds like your story, I really need you to hear this. You're not alone, and it's not your fault. There are powerful psychological traps that keep you bonded to the people who hurt you. And they're almost impossible to see when you're right in the middle of it. And look, this isn't about willpower. It's about brain chemistry, subconscious patterns, and old emotional wounds. But seeing these traps is the first step to stopping them. In this video, I'm going to show you why you keep going back, and more importantly, I'm going to give you a real 3-step action plan to finally break the cycle for good and get your life back. Welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Brennan. I post content to help people heal, grow, and live a life with real purpose. Today, we're talking about how to stop losing that purpose in the people who keep hurting you. So how do we get out of this pattern? I think before we go into the how, we should understand the why. You have to stop blaming yourself for being stuck and start seeing the forces that are really at play here. Because once you understand how the trap works, you can start to find the exit. There are a few big reasons why leaving a toxic person feels less like a breakup and more like quitting some sort of severe addiction. First, let's talk about something called intermittent reinforcement. Think of this like a slot machine. If a slot machine pays out every single time, you will eventually get bored. If it never paid out, you just walk away. The reason people sit there for hours pulling that lever is because the machine pays out just often enough, or maybe on a totally unpredictable schedule, to keep them hooked. So the next big win could just be one pull away. A toxic relationship works the exact same way. It's a cycle of neglect and cruelty broken up by random, unpredictable moments of affection, apologies, or kindness. This is the love bombing phase where they turn back into the charming person that you first met. And your brain, that's starved for connection, latches onto these good moments, and the dopamine hit you get during these makeup phases creates a powerful chemical high that literally makes you feel addicted to that person. But you're not addicted to the pain, you're addicted to the hope of getting that jackpot hit again. So you keep pulling on the lever, hoping for a win, even while you're losing everything. And the second trap is trauma bonding. This is a deep emotional attachment that forms between you and the person who's actually causing you the pain. It's a fucked up paradox where the source of your fear also becomes your only source of comfort. They create the storm and then they'll offer you an umbrella. So a huge fight, or they give you the silent treatment, and when they finally offer you affection, your nervous system, which has been flooded with all these stress hormones, feels like this huge wave of relief. And so your body and your brain will start to mistake the feeling of relief for love. And so you become bonded not to the person, but to the cycle of survival itself. This is why you might find yourself defending them or feeling fiercely loyal even when they treat you horribly. And you feel like they're the only person who really gets it, but you're not realizing that they're the one that's causing the pain to begin with. And the third is we get pulled back into what feels familiar. Our brains are wired to prefer the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. If you grew up in a home where love was chaotic, or you had to earn it, or it was unpredictable, a stable, peaceful relationship can actually feel boring or maybe uncomfortable for you. So subconsciously, you might be drawn to the dynamics that mirror old wounds from your childhood, like you're really trying to go back and get this quote unquote fix to the original story that you finally win the approval that you never got. And the intense chemistry may feel like a sign that you found your soulmate, but it just could be a red flag that you're triggering your old trauma. And finally, there's just the simple, painful love and hope. The relationship wasn't bad from day one, right? So there were good times, you guys had laughter, connection, you fell in love with this person, and we hold on to those memories. You just end up falling in love with the potential, and you remember all these good moments. And because you're a hopeful, empathetic person, you believe they can change. You hope that they'll get help and that they'll wake up and maybe they'll realize how much they're hurting you. But the hope is both beautiful and it's destructive because it keeps you invested in the future that really, honestly, it has zero evidence of ever actually happening. So when you mix the addictive highs and deep trauma bonds on the pull of your old wounds and your own good-hearted hope, it's no wonder you feel stuck. It's a perfectly designed psychological cage. But good news is every cage has a key, and now I'm about to show you how to find that key. So breaking this cycle isn't like one big dramatic moment. It's a process, and it takes focused, deliberate action. It's not about being strong, it's about being strategic. So here are 3 proven steps that you need to take to help you break free. Step 1 is to get brutally honest. First, you have to get out of the fog of confusion and into absolute clarity. Toxic dynamics thrive on a warped sense of reality. Your job now is to become the scientist of your own experience. Start by calling it what it is. Stop saying it's complicated. Use real words like this is manipulation, this is emotional abuse. Say it out loud. When you give it a name, that act is a form of self-respect. Then get honest about your fears. What is it that you're really afraid of? Is it being alone? Is it hurting that person? Write these things down. Getting out of your head and onto paper robs them of their power. This awareness allows you to start practicing emotional detachment. You're not going to become a robot or anything. You just create space between their behavior and your reaction. So you can visualize a protective shield around you, and when they say something to provoke you, imagine the words that they say just bouncing off. And this gives you a second to pause and choose how to respond. So it hopefully stops you from getting sucked into that same old fight. So creating this mental, physical space is the first move to untangling your life from theirs. Number 2 is don't do this alone. You cannot break free from trauma bond in isolation. It's like trying to perform surgery on yourself. You're just too close to it, and your own wounds will eventually get in the way. The most powerful resource is a professional who can help, a therapist, or especially somebody who has experience in trauma or narcissistic abuse can be a good guide to get you out of this fucked up maze. They give you the tools and the safe space to process everything without judgment. Your social circle is also a good lifeline. Confident, trusted friends or family who are supportive but firm. Let them know you're trying to leave and you need help staying accountable. Asking a friend to be the person you call when you feel weak or want to text an ex can make a big difference. Finally, support groups, online or in person. Find people to connect with who are going through this. Hearing their stories destroys the shame and the isolation that the toxicity needs to survive. Guys, I want to make a quick PSA. If this is hitting home for you, take a second to subscribe to the channel. I regularly post videos designed to help you build healthier relationships, improve your dating life, and live a life with purpose, and to be more vulnerable and accountable. This all starts with the relationship you have with yourself. Your healing journey doesn't need to end here, and I would love to be a part of it. And the final thing, step 3, is to build a life you don't want to escape from. And this really ties back into what I just said in my PSA, and that's about building your life with meaning. Because for a long time, the toxic relationship has been the center of your universe. So breaking free means deliberately shifting that focus to escaping from them to running to yourself. And it starts with radical self-care, deep foundational work to rebuild your strength. Reconnect with your body through exercise, nourish it with good food, make sure you get plenty of good sleep. Every act of self-care sends a message to your brain that says, I am worthy of care. Next, reconnect with who you are. Toxic relationships erase your personality. They take your hobbies and your friendship and they all get pushed aside for drama. So take time to reclaim them. Make a list of the things you love to do before you met that person. Was it painting? Was it hiking? Go out and do those things. Reconnect with old friends. When you fill your life with other sources of joy, you will avoid that person who once occupied it. And finally, create an exciting vision for your future. What do you want your life to look like 1 year or 5 years from now? Write it down in a vivid, detailed vision. This will become your North Star. When you feel the pull to go back, look at your vision board and remember what you're fighting for. You're shifting from being a victim of your past to the architect of your future, and this is a powerful place to be. And finally, let me wrap this up. Breaking the cycle of returning to toxic people is hard. It may be the hardest thing that you ever have to do, but it is without a doubt the most rewarding. It is a declaration of war on patterns that have held you captive. Remember the forces that you're up against and be kind to yourself throughout this process, but also be strong. By taking these 3 steps, getting honest, leaning on others, and building a new life, you're not just leaving a person, you're reclaiming your soul. You are teaching yourself through your actions that your peace is non-negotiable. And that's the first, last, and the only step that matters is deciding right now that you are no longer available for anything less. So guys, I am Brennan. This is Life Unscripted Adulting Uncovered. Remember, healing, it doesn't always look graceful. Sometimes it looks like just blocking a number and choosing yourself again and again and again until it sticks. So keep going, You're not weak for wanting love. You're brave for learning to want better. And like I always say, life is so much better when we stop pretending and we start talking. I will catch you next time. Take care.